Greetings, adventurers, and welcome back to the maze, and welcome to Lost in the Maze. I'm not even going to bother to tell you which episode this is. I'm sure that the apprentice can tell us.
It's five.
Apprentice, five, five, right there, five. All right, you got it from him. So if it's wrong, it's on Steven. Wanted to welcome you guys back. We hope you've been enjoying our content. I see that we got a new subscriber today, so I'm pretty excited about that. So welcome. Hopefully you like what we're doing here and you will share it with your friends. So let's jump right into it. We want to start off by thanking our sponsor, W Energy.
Yep.
They are awesome, and I know I have two boxes of their flavorings on their way to me right now. So I went ahead and treated myself with a little early stocking stuffer this year. So we do have a
Nice.
code that if you use it, you guys will get a discount on the product, and it will give a little love to the website. So we'll have that link down in the comments and descriptions. You guys can utilize that if you'd like.
Yep. Yep.
But let's go ahead and jump into what we've got going on here at the maze. We have got some new content over up at our YouTube site. I was out and about this past weekend. I drove back home to see The Apprentice. So there's actually a picture up on Instagram of the two of us in the same place at the same time.
Can you believe it?
Yes, can you believe it? Nearly 600 miles apart, but you know what? I made the road trip, got to see him, brave the snow and ice that was back home, and we shared some laughs and had a good time. We're going to have some more things later in the cast that we did together. Also, want to point you to our website. I've got some new things going up over the website, some new content coming this week, so be on the lookout for that. I will finally get up the second part of the session one recap for Daggerheart, which we took place about 2 weeks ago, a little under 2 weeks ago. It'll be 2 weeks this coming Friday. But I'm kind of under the gun to get it up to you because session two takes place Friday the 12th. We're going to play this Friday and then probably one more Friday. We're going to squeeze one more in before Christmas if we can. And then we're going to sit down as a group and talk about whether or not we will be continuing with Daggerheart or trying something new. So stay tuned for that. We'll have all that up at the website for your guys' reading pleasure. And please comment and let us know what you think about that content. There is a place over at the website where you can leave your comments and let us know what you think. So let's jump right into what we had going on recently. Like I said earlier, I did make the trip back up home to see family, got to see my mother and stepfather, and got to hang out with the apprentice a good amount. And on Saturday, we decided we were going to go out and grab some lunch together. And like geeks do, as he and I were talking about where to meet, both of us are on our phones individually, looking at what type of game shops were in the area of where we
Yep.
wanted to eat.
Yeah,
And
of
as I'm
course.
typing the message to him, hey, I found this cool website, he sends me a message, hey, I found this really cool store that's local to where we're going to be at. Let's go check it out. And check it out, we did. So
Mm-hmm.
we want to give a shout out to Waterloo Games
Mm-hmm.
back in Mechanicsville, Virginia. It is a pretty busy little shop. I have never heard of it before. Not that I ever hung out in Mechanicsville very much when I lived in Virginia. But we do have a friend, Josh, that lives in the area. So we're going to tune him into Waterloo Games.
Yeah.
But we wanted to kind of give you guys an overview of what we thought, kind of give a little quick review, a 30,000 foot review of the shop and what we thought.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Parking is an issue because it's a very small parking lot,
Yeah.
but there is a funeral home right across the street where we were able to park and just walk right across the street to get in. So there is parking available. You just may have to walk across the street to
Mm-hmm.
get there. But you know, the shop is very well signed. They let you know right out front what they're doing. I mean, we saw signs for Warhammer, for Troll Lord Games,
Mm-hmm.
for WotC, D&D, everything.
Yeah.
BattleTech, which really surprised me.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I when we walked in, we were immediately greeted by the employee at the shop who welcomed us in, told
Mm-hmm.
us, you know, let me know if you need anything. They have a great selection of tabletop games. We saw a lot of stuff for alternate World War II and World War III
Yeah.
tabletop games, kind of like Warhammer.
Yeah. They had
We
they had
did,
Warhammer, Panzer, World War
yeah,
Three. I wish I could remember the name of that game that reminded me of Trench Crusade, but that game has some really cool miniatures. I don't remember the
yeah.
name of it.
I
Um,
should have taken a picture, but sometimes they frown on that
yeah,
when you go into
it
those
was like
shops.
an
So I can't
alternate dimension kind of like, again, it's a lot like Trench Crusade, but the minis were super cool.
Yeah, it looked like it was like maybe a continuation of World War II or something like World War II never stopped.
Mm-hmm.
and they just kept the arms race kept going. So they started developing tanks that walked and things like that. We saw a four-legged walker tank that looked like a basically like a Sherman with four walker legs on it, so
Mm-hmm.
he could move around the battlefield. We also saw this upright thing that looked almost like a World War One tank with articulated legs and arms. It looked amazing. So I'll try to do a little research and find out what the name of that game is and put that up here on the website for you guys in case you're interested. But we did see quite a few card games, Lorcana, which we'll talk about a little later, Magic the Gathering. They did have quite a bit in the way of accessories, miniatures, things like that. We did see some Reaper miniatures.
Mm.
Didn't see any WotC miniatures or any WizKids miniatures. And unfortunately, I did not see a game of D&D being played. Lots of Magic. There was a Warhammer game in progress. They had a couple tables where people were painting and just kind of kicking it, which was fun to see. So they do seem to have a pretty thriving community. I did like the fact that they had drinks and snacks for people because a lot of times when you get in a shop like that, if there's not something in walking distance, if you don't bring your own snacks and stuff, you might be going hungry. But I did like the layout of the shop. I thought that they did have a good selection of some things I had not seen before, like the little block transformers, which were
Mm.
collectible in the blind boxes. I thought that was neat. They did have some blind box things for D&D, like little miniature cups that came with different creatures on them, like the Beholder, the Mimic, things like that. Those looked kind of cool. So quite a bit to offer. A lot of terrain. I actually picked up a couple of boxes of terrain there for use in my D&D and Daggerheart games, which came pre-painted. So I was pretty excited about that. I did post over on our Instagram about some terrain I saw for Egyptian themed games, which got me kind of excited because we did support Kingdom of Keshinar's 5e supplement, which is going to be an Egyptian based land and just based an entire supplement based around Egyptian mythology, which I think is going to be really cool. Uh, Dave, who is one of the creators, just spent a week in Egypt where he actually went out to the pyramids and some of the ruins, and he met with some of the premier Egyptologists in the country to get talk to them about Egyptian ruins, Egyptian culture, Egyptian theology, and stuff, so that as they finish work on the game, they can make it as realistic as possible. And I think that's awesome. They're really putting into work on that, so that got me excited.
Mm.
But lots of terrain, things like that at the shop. Stephen, what were your impressions?
I thought it was awesome. I mean, for me, I think I even said this word for word while we were there, but like I would have killed to have a shop like that, like 10, 15 minutes away
Yeah,
from the house. It's
yeah,
we walked in, the guy that ringed us out at the end was up front and he was like, "Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome in. Like, let me know if you need anything." And but they weren't like overly like up your ass about like, "Oh, what are you looking for? What do you want to buy? What do you want to do?" Like they kind of just
yeah,
said, "Hey, welcome to the shop. Let us know if you need help. Look around, let us know." And like we were in there for probably 30, 45 minutes. I mean, they had every miniature you could think of, card games I'd never heard of. Um,
yeah,
like you said, terrain, board games, tons of different kinds of sleeves for cards. I love the touch that they had like the little food section up front. They had like a little
yeah.
convenience store where you could get some energy drinks and Gatorade and hot pockets and
Snacks, yeah,
yeah, I mean all kinds of stuff. And there was a good mix of older folks, younger folks there. It's like exactly what you think of when you get nostalgic about a game shop. It's a game shop like Waterloo Games, which
yeah,
I've been to game shops where it's just kind of it's dead, and you're kind of in there alone, or everybody in there
yeah.
is like old and they all know each other. So when you're not one of the guys, they all look at you like, "What the hell are you doing here?" Um,
Right.
so it was cool to go in there and meet them, and he was super nice at the end. He gave us some swag and gave us some poker chips with his QR code on it for his Discord. Um, was
Which
asking
will
us
appear right around in here
yeah,
somewhere.
I'll use magic and throw it out. But like he was a super nice guy asking us, if we were around, if we were going to come back, and all kinds of stuff. And I'll tell you, if I ever find myself in Mechanicsville, and I have the time, I will go back.
Yeah,
It was
absolutely.
just a great shop. It was a great vibe. Everyone in there was having a good time. Um,
Yeah,
I will say I went in there and I had Dad and I had been driving most of the day because we met in the middle of where he was staying and where I live, which is about an hour drive. Um,
mhm,
and I walked in, I'm like, damn, I have to pee. And like, it's one bathroom, it's a game shop, and there's like 30 people in there. And I'm like, oh no, like, it's a fate worse than death. And it was a nice
right.
bathroom. It was actually nice. I'm like, wow, this is great. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
props to them. The shop seems like a great bunch of guys, and
Yeah.
like I said, they had a bunch of stuff. Like there was a card game called Altered. I've never even heard of it.
Yeah.
Um,
I've heard of it, but I've never played it, so I
yeah,
don't
and
really
they
have much
had
opinion of it.
if you're a Lorcana person, Whisper in the Wells, the new expansion that came out like 2 weeks ago. Most
Mhm.
shops, if they have it at all, which I've been to 3 shops now, including, well, not including, but also a Target, and none of them had the
Mhm.
new expansion at all. And most shops have
Well,
a 2 pack limit where you can only buy 2 packs at a time. Some of them are maybe 5. When I brought that up at Waterloo, I'm like, hey, do you have a pack limit? And he's like, what? No, of course not. I'm like, just let me buy however many I wanted.
yeah.
So it seemed like a good bunch of guys. Like I said, it's exactly the kind of game shop that you want your local game shop to be like.
Right. And another thing I wanted to bring up is I saw a pretty wide variety of ages there. I saw a couple of kids that were probably 8, 9, maybe 10 years old,
Yeah,
and then I saw people my age or a little older, and then everything in between. So I saw 4 or 5 different generations in there
it was cool to
that
see
were,
young kids at a
yeah,
table painting Warhammer miniatures. Doing that kind of
yeah,
stuff. I mean, you almost
yeah,
kind of it's so rare to hear about a kid that does anything other than stare at their phone all day. So if you have a kid at a
yeah.
game shop, playing Warhammer with his dad or his buddies, like that's a win right
Encourage
there.
it,
You know.
encourage it, encourage it. Yeah. So that's going to lead us from our community shout out for Waterloo Games
Hmm.
right into why we think it's important that you support your local game shop.
Mm.
Um, I mean, it's pretty much. I mean, you guys have all heard this before. If you've listened to any podcast where they talk about supporting your local store, I'm going to reiterate most of those points. One, brick and mortar stores are important to the community. Uh, VTTs are great. Being able to play online, on Roll20 or Foundry or something like that is absolutely fantastic. If that's your bag, more power to you. But if we lose the little moms and pops, the little brick and mortar stores where people who are knowledgeable are selling product and can get people involved in new games and introduce them to new things, we're going to miss out as a community. We're going to lose out on small games, card games, individual games. Like uh, they had a little game there that was being sold at the counter as a point of purchase. I wish I'd taken a picture of it, but I don't like going in and taking a bunch of pictures because people think you're a weirdo when you do. They had this little game that was basically a pocket dungeon, and it was basically a little flip over notebook that had little dungeon maps on each one, and
Oh
it comes
yeah,
with yeah,
yeah.
it comes with a D20 and a pencil, so that you can play this while traveling down the road. And I thought, what a great gift idea. We talked about stocking
Stocking
stuffers on the last
stuffer.
couple
Yep.
episodes. This is perfect if you have a young kid that wants to do something in the car while you're traveling, and you want to kind of sneak in TTRPGs or D&D to them. This
Hmm.
was a perfect example, and I will find that. I will make a point of finding out what that game was, and I will get a link up to it here for you guys. But it was a great little game, and I think things like that are the ones that get left behind in the shuffle if local game stores go under, because there won't be small places to carry those. You're not going to see that kind of thing in Target. You're not going to see it online unless it's on a Kickstarter or something like that.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts, Steve?
We've had this conversation a few times recently, and a lot of it is because I come from the opposite. When I was younger, I was into tabletop games, card games, yeah, Pokemon and all that was huge when I was a kid. And I
Mm-hmm.
transitioned into video games because number one, they're fun, they're engaging, they are stimulating, which everything can be. But it's just I think the majority of why is that they're easy, right? You just
Right.
there's no work, gas money, travel required. You sit down and you turn on whatever thing is, and that goes for not just video games, but those virtual tabletops you were talking about. I mean, why go to my local game shop when I can boot up Magic Arena on my PC and play people, same cards, same layout, same format, same expansion, and play it on my computer? Um, and I think the answer is you kind of have to make up the answer for yourself. Like, is it worth it for you? Maybe it isn't. Maybe that's easy. That's what
Yeah.
if that's what's going to get you into Dungeons and Dragons is playing it at home by yourself or with some friends over Discord or Roll20. Then I think you should do that. I sincerely do. But I think if you get into it and you want to get more out of it, that's when you need to look at kind of getting more into the physical space, right? And I mean, like I said, that shop. I mean, if I wish everyone could experience a game shop like that shop. I mean,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of, Waterloos out there. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, One Eye Jack's was the place to go.
Yeah.
And when you go there and you see the miniatures in person and people are like there and they're excited about it, it's just a different feeling. And when you go to
Yeah.
somebody's house, or they come to your house, or you meet in a neutral location, you play tabletop game, whether it's Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder or whatever, it is just different. It is just a different vibe, and it kind of adds something to the game. And that's if you don't do any extra work. Like we talked about
Yeah.
adding props to your game, adding terrain to your game, doing all these things. That adds even more. Now we're talking like exponentially more value. Um,
Hmm.
but I mean, and that's just kind of a selfish reason to get into it is just how fun it is. But then also, if these shops go out, if everyone decides to stay home and nobody goes to the shop, that just to me sounds like in 20 years there's going to be 5 different card games and 5 different role-playing games. That's it, and you have to pick one, and that's all you play. And
Yeah.
you don't go to a shop, you buy it online, and you hope your friends will come to your house and play it.
Yeah.
For me, like that
And,
that kills so much of why nerddom is fun, because again, we went
right.
to that shop. There's tabletop games, board games, card games, role playing games. There's I've never even heard of there, and
Right.
the reason I looked at the altered cards on the wall is because I saw 2 tables of people playing it, and when I was
Right.
walking back from the bathroom, I looked down intentionally to be like, well, what are they playing? Are they playing? Is everyone playing Magic? And there was 3 Magic tables, 3 Lorcana tables, and 2 altered tables. And I'm like, what the hell's that card? I don't even know what that is. And I started looking around and I found it. And like
Yeah.
that game, in my opinion, I mean, I don't know anything about that game, but I feel like if game shops in general go down, you're gonna have Magic because they have WotC money. You're gonna have Lorcana because they have Disney money, and that's probably it. And we'll get
Yeah.
into some more card games later, but I feel like again, what makes this whole thing special is the in between games that maybe not
Right.
everybody's talking about.
Yeah. And one of the things that you get, and I understand for some people it comes down to a call. It comes down to a cost equation, right?
Sure.
I'm going to buy my stuff on Amazon because Amazon sells it cheaper. Okay, that I can't argue that point. Sometimes you can catch books on sale for 20% off, and your local game store almost never puts it at 20% off. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason that is because your local game store has a bunch of middlemen, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not buying it directly from the warehouse. They're buying it from a middleman, from a book distributor, and that book distributor has to put a markup on it. And the book distributor buys it from a supplier. The supplier puts a markup on it. So
Right.
by the time you get to it, it's market value. So a hardback D&D book is going to run you $60, and I get it. That can hurt. I mean, especially if you are the Fiever DM and it's your responsibility to have all these resource books because you are expected to have the material, especially if you are a paid DM like I am. I do run games for fun, but I'm also a paid dungeon master, and I make sure that my people get their value. So I buy modules, I buy books, and I make sure I'm up to date on things. That doesn't come cheap, and I understand wanting to save a little money, but inversely, I also understand that if I have the little extra money in my pocket, rather than save the $20 and buy it on Amazon, so Jeff Bezos can build another spaceship and maybe fly the cast of Stranger Things up to space, I would much rather give it to a local game shop and make sure they stay in business.
Right.
Just because I would want somebody to do it for me.
Mm.
Quite honestly, one of my dreams has always been one day, stop working for other people, making them rich, and open up a game shop. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and I have the knowledge and the passion to do it, but I don't have the capital, and I don't have a location. And if I did it, what's the risk? Are people going to come in? Or are they
Mm-hmm.
just going to keep going to Level Up because Level Up's the biggest game store in the Atlanta area?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would like to think that, I could bring people in, greet them like this guy at Waterloo Games greeted us, and get more people in. He had a great little community there. I mean, there
Mm-hmm.
must have been 30, 35 people there when we went in on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And I was super impressed how many people were there at roughly 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was really glad to see it. I really was, because that gives me hope that the little mom and pop shops like that will stay in business and continue to bring new games that you've never seen before, new card games, new TTRPGs, new accessories, make them available to the community so that the community can continue to thrive.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to admit, I was overjoyed to see younger people in there,
It was
because
awesome.
most of the game,
It was
yeah,
like
most of the game
50-50,
shops like this,
honestly. There was a lot
yeah,
of kids in there.
there was a lot of kids in there, and I get it. Kids love the card games, and that's great.
Mm-hmm.
I, for one, was and heartened to see these kids at the table, because a lot of times when I go into shops here locally, I don't see people younger than, early to mid 20s. I don't see any
Mm-hmm.
teenagers. I don't see any young kids. And I worry sometimes for the longevity of the community. But
Yeah.
with shops like Waterloo, I'm glad to see that it's in good hands. So
Yeah, it's a shining example of this thing that we always talk about, which is almost like Bigfoot, and it's like this elusive thing, but you get to see it occasionally, and it's called grassroots nerddom, grassroots tabletop games. It's like when you see normal people out there doing it, because sometimes when you're on the internet, it does feel that only Critical Role is playing D&D. It does feel like only celebrities are doing these things, and you go to game shops and it's all Magic the Gathering. You go to game shops and it's all people talking about video games. And there's like, you're like, man, am I the only guy in my area that plays this? Like, I mean, am I it? And then you go to a shop like that where in the middle of the day, on some random day in December, there's 30 people in there all playing together, all living that grassroots nerddom life. They're playing again. They're playing a game that isn't popular. That's not the
right,
top seller on TCGplayer.com. They're playing again, they're playing a game called Altered, which I've never heard of. They're not going to make any
yeah,
money on that, whether they sell cards or I'm sure there's not really professional competitions for that game. They're playing it because they have free time on a Saturday. They're there with their friends and they're hanging out, and that's what it's. I mean, that's literally the crux of what we're doing. We're trying to promote that lifestyle, that passion for this stuff, and not
mhm,
for it to all be whatever's newest, hottest, whatever sells the best. That's all we're gonna do. I mean, that's to me, that's like not even worth my time. Like when I see these new games and these interesting kind of these eccentric games that I've never heard of, or these new up and coming games, that's what gets me excited. I don't
yeah,
really get excited for the old stuff because like I know the old stuff and I want something new. I want something fresh. I want
yeah,
something to be like, whoa, that's different. That's why Old Mana kind of took me out because I'm like, wow, this is a new card game that's learned from the
yeah,
mistakes of other card games, and he's trying to release this card game right now when the card game market is like saturated. But he's
yeah.
doing it
He's
because
getting close.
he believes in it. He's like, I think
Yeah,
people when they get their hands on this are going to understand what I'm trying to do.
yeah.
That's exciting.
He's getting really close. I need to reach out to him again because I haven't talked to him in a couple of weeks.
Hmm.
But I know he said he was really close to releasing
I've
a
seen
working
pictures
beta
in the
version.
Discord of people with cards in their hand of old
Yeah,
mana cards, and like,
yeah.
again, is that game going to be the next big thing? I don't know, but
Maybe not.
it's interesting, and it kind of gets you re-excited and re-passionate about what got you into this stuff in the first place. It doesn't make
Right,
me not like Dungeons and Dragons if a new tabletop game comes out. It doesn't make me not interested in Magic if
right,
Flesh and Blood takes off and it's the biggest card game. It's like when these things
right.
happen, it kind of reinvigorates you for the entire genre of thing that you're looking at.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
anyway,
And I like the passion that Indy has for his game, and that's what we're all about, right? We're about the
mm,
passion of the hobby. We're about the passion for the community, and that's what we think is important, and that's what we're trying to get across.
yeah,
Is we support our local game shops because they're kind of the heart of the community,
they're the
and
literal beating heart of what we're doing. They're it.
and if they go under it, I know how hard it is for me to have to travel all the way over to Duluth.
Yeah.
I know that Level Up has a smaller shop here near me in Johns Creek, but it's not a very big shop. It's like less than a quarter of the size of what we ran on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I go in there and support them when I can,
Mm-hmm.
but I know if I want something, I pretty much have to go over to Duluth to get it. Especially if I'm looking for something obscure or miniatures or something like
Mm-hmm.
that, because when you have limited space,
You have to be
you're not going to
particular.
put out a variety of stuff. You're going to put out what moves, and that's going to be card games and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. So I
And
totally understand it, and I'm not
yeah,
hating on them.
and before we go to the next topic, I do want to say like this is not us shitting on you if you buy your D&D books from Amazon. Like that's not what I'm
No,
trying to do.
absolutely not.
If
No,
that's
absolutely not.
if it's between you not getting into the hobby at all and getting into the hobby, I want you to get into it.
Yeah,
But once you get into it and get your feet, you kind of get your feet under you and you understand kind of what you like and what you don't like, and you're looking for more things. There's a lot of stuff at game shops they're not going to sell on Amazon because it's not worth their
yeah.
time.
And
So
here's another great suggestion. You don't have to spend money at a local game shop if you don't want to. If
yeah,
you want
you
to buy
don't
all
spend your
your
money at
stuff on
all. Yeah.
Amazon, pack your stuff up and go to a local game
Hmm.
shop and offer to run a game,
Yeah.
or find people that are playing a game you're interested in and get involved.
Hmm.
You can support that local game shop by showing up
Talk about
and
it.
getting other people
Talk about
involved
it.
in the
Tell
hobby.
people about it. I mean,
And,
you know, me and my dad found Waterloo by pure luck.
Yeah,
Since then, I've told 3 people about it. One of which lives less than 4 miles away. He's gonna go there and spend money there when he otherwise
absolutely.
would not go there.
Yeah,
My dad did. We didn't go in there and spend an exorbitant amount of money. We did not pay that guy's rent. We spent a pretty modest amount of money on a few things,
yeah,
and that's not really going to change his life in one way or another. But if I tell somebody, and then that guy tells somebody, and then his buddies are into magic, and they hear about it, and they go, well, next thing you know, like that's 5, 6, 7 people that go into that shop. And again, none of us are millionaires. We're not going to change this guy's life, but those local game stores, those 7 people mean a hell of a lot more than 7 people going to Amazon and buying a D&D book.
yeah. That
Because you
word
go
of
in there, you find that little cool pocket dungeon notebook, you grab an energy drink on the way out, you tell a buddy, you throw a business card down somewhere, boom. And that's,
yeah,
I mean, again, I would have killed, I still would kill to have that shop near me. I mean, can you
yeah.
imagine when like you and I hung out every Friday when you lived here and like we just went to a game shop like that every weekend? I mean, we
We
would,
would probably hang out there
dude,
every
we
weekend.
would live there. Like we would, they'd
Yeah,
have to
pretty
kick
much.
us out.
Yeah, they pretty much would have had to kick us out or hire us and let us work there.
I mean, dude,
But
like even a part-time job, that'd be so sick.
yeah, it would be sick. So, props to all of you who are listening that work at your local game shops. We love you guys, and we will continue to do what we can to support you. So,
Oh yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
yeah. So, let us know what you think. Down in the comments, what you think about supporting your local game shop. Are you for it? Are you against it? Are you one of these guys that you can only afford to buy your books online? And again, we're not shitting on you if you are. We totally get it because there's been times where money's tight for us, and I've had to say, okay,
Dude, yeah.
if I get a game, I'm gonna if I buy this book, I'm gonna have to get it online because I can get it for 30 or 40% off.
Yeah.
And I totally get it. But when I have the money and I have the time and I have the wherewithal, I'm going to spend my money at a shop because I want to support those shops. So,
Hmm.
that's we won't beat that to death. We're going to move on. So
Yep.
if you're still with us, thanks. Let's get into some RPG, TTRPG, and some TCG news.
Hmm.
I got pretty excited because I saw one of my favorite IPs is revamping their rule book. Alien RPG, Freely Publishing, is going to be putting out a new Alien RPG core rule book. Looks pretty great. They've evolved it. It's going to be landing on the table pretty soon. And I am pretty excited to see it. So we will have a link for that down in the description for you guys. I've tried the Alien RPG before. It seemed a little crunchy to me. It didn't flow very well. So
Well,
I tried it once or twice. I played like I think 2 sessions, and then we kind of walked away from it, and did something else, and never got back to it.
what
But
do you play like Colonial Marines? What do you play? Like what do you do?
you can play Colonial Marines. You could be a scientist. You could be a pilot. You could be an engineer. You can be a person who's one of these colonists on a planet that runs afoul of them or what have you.
Hmm.
You could work for the company, and trying to bring these alien life forms back. So it's got a lot of flexibility. It looks like, and the characters and classes you can play. I don't believe it allows. I haven't read the book because they haven't put out a link for it yet.
Hmm.
But I'm probably going to pick it up at my local game shop when it comes out. Because I am interested in it. Even if I never play it, sometimes I like to get these books, have them on the shelf just in
I,
case.
dude, I have
And sometimes they're just fun to look through for the art and
yeah,
stuff.
I have books here for miniature games, tabletop games that I know I'll never play, but I just buy
Right.
them because I mean I have all the Warhammer Army books from every single edition of Warhammer, Old World slash Fantasy
Right.
ever. I just like looking through them. They're cool.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, I mean, if you talk about a sci-fi IP, not, I mean, there's a lot of good ones,
Yeah. And
but
for me, it's like it's a no-brainer. If you have aliens and it does well,
uh,
maybe spin it off and have a supplement for the predator species. I
sure,
think
yeah.
that would be cool.
I
Um,
mean, the 1970 Alien and like just the setting and like the Nostromo and the art and just the world design, it's like it is. I know we've talked about it. I can't remember anymore, but it is like when I think of sci-fi, I think of that. I think of
yeah.
that very weird retro futuristic those computer panels that the
Yeah.
computer's as big as this entire wall in front of me but it's you're
Yeah.
in space though, so how does that make sense? And it's so
Yeah.
cool. So
I
that's a
like
super cool setting for a tabletop game.
Alien. Alien is a great IP. I know they've kind of lost their way over the years, though, with Alien Earth.
In movies for sure.
In movies, but with Alien Earth, they seem to have kind of gotten back on target. I mean, that's
It's
working because that's
closer.
been renewed for it's been renewed for season two.
Mm.
So I could see, just as a game master, I can see all sorts of potential for that game for scenarios. Rescue mission, bug hunt. You're like you're on the Nostromo and
Mm-hmm.
you're just trying to survive against one xenomorph.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of different ways that you could play that game out and have a good time with it. So I'm interested to see what they've got. So we'll have a link for that down in the description block for you guys to check out.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go ahead and jump into some Kickstarter news. A couple of supplements coming out. Well, one supplement in particular coming out for D&D caught my eye this past week. A game called Uncharted Dungeons. That Kickstarter is basically a 5e supplement, which is going to have a bunch of Forgotten Ruins, some caverns and things like that for your D&D table. It's going to include maps, and there's going to be a couple of short adventures in there for you. But it's a cool little supplement, I think, to have on hand. I know as a dungeon master, you've always got to be prepared for your players to go down a rabbit hole and to go off script. And sometimes having something like that in your bag, having it handy, if they decide, hey, well, we're going to check out this cave over here where the bear was. Okay, you check out the cave. Well, maybe now I put an entrance at the back that's partially obscured and it leads into this cavern, and you discover an old lost warren of some kind. Maybe a dwarven mine of some kind that was abandoned because it was overrun by ogres or orcs or what have you. So there's potential there for that book for me, and I think there will be for other DMs as well. So we'll have a link for that in the description for you guys.
That's from Cubicle 7 as well. That's a creator
It
that
is
we've
from
shouted out before.
Yeah, that's from Cubicle 7, who I'm pretty excited to say is quickly becoming a game shop that I'm looking at.
One to watch out
Pretty
for.
close to a publisher. It's a great publisher. I mean, I've got some other things from them that I have backed, and definitely some things I'm looking forward to. So we'll have that link in the description for you guys. But something a little bit different, and in keeping with the holiday season, since we are in December now,
Unbelievable.
December 8th as we record this, so
Can't
only
believe it.
17 days to the holiday, guys. There's a game coming out called Stop Krampus and Save Christmas. And this is it's a little different. It's not a board game, it's not a RPG. It's a print to play game, and it's only $5 to support it, so I went ahead and supported it. I thought it might be something for fun play around the holidays, either with my wife or family or my grandkids, because basically you play characters who are trying to stop Krampus from ruining Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And you basically pay your $5. You get the PDFs. You can print out the little board game, the game board itself, and then the character cards and stuff like that. So we'll have a link for that in the description. That looks like it's a lot of fun.
I want
Um,
to shout out two things there. Number one, you can actually play as Krampus if you want a
you
PvP,
can,
which is
you
awesome.
can.
And number
That
two,
is awesome.
I do want to like give props here to you, but also we try to throw in games that maybe aren't necessarily as serious as as a Daggerheart campaign or D&D campaign. There are board games out there that are just cute and fun, and these are
Yeah,
the kind of games that are going to get people that see a Dungeons and Dragons and go, I'm too young for that. I don't understand it. I'm not smart enough for that. This
yeah,
is a gateway drug for more in depth and more involved
yeah,
tabletop
yeah.
games. So often I see people kind of like they see something that looks like a Satchel Quest or a Stop
Mhm.
Krampus. They'll see this and go, "Oh yeah, whatever." And it's like, "No, dude, like these are just as important as the
Oh yeah,
more defined games because this is what's going to grab more people. I mean, people are going to see
yeah.
this and
This will grab
they're not going to think of this as a tabletop game. This is just a
right.
game and they're going to play it.
This will grab kids' attention, especially if you go into your local game shop and you offer to play it,
Yeah.
and you set it up and you just maybe put up a little sign at your table. Hey, demoing a game, Stop Krampus, Save Christmas,
Yeah.
and especially around a holiday, a themed game like that is going to draw attention. It gets people in seats. It shows people that there's also a lighter side to gaming. It's not all
Mhm.
serious.
I think
It's
that's
not all kill the
important.
xenomorph.
That's
Yeah, it's not
important.
kill the xenomorphs. It's not slay the dragon. It's not loot the dungeon. Those things are great, but there's also a lighter side of games that a lot of people don't know about. And
Mhm.
this is, like you said, it's a great entryway for somebody to play this and see that, hey, playing at a table with other people is fun.
Yeah.
What else could I be playing?
Yeah, I think it's
So,
like almost taboo to talk about these like more lighthearted and fun games because people are like the whole nerd culture is like very hyper fixate on exactly what they love and they don't play anything else. And I think that's
right.
kind of true, but also there is a fun like you and I have gotten into so many of these sideboard games, these card games,
Mhm.
these different things because they're just new, different, and fun. And I mean, that's half of the joy of it. I think if you just
Speaking
only worry about that, yeah, show 'em.
Speaking of which, shout out to The Apprentice. This past weekend was our birthday. We
Mm-hmm.
share a birthday. We're
We
both
do.
born on December 7th.
Yep.
So for my birthday,
Horrified.
I got this.
Yep, that was on one of the
Horrified,
episodes, like 2 episodes ago.
yeah, just 2 episodes ago. Horrified Dungeons and Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
It is a board game
Yep.
set up in Waterdeep where you are basically going into Undermountain and you are trying to defeat these monsters. So basically, you're trying to defeat beholders, displacer beasts, mimics, and a red dragon.
Mm-hmm.
It does come with plastic miniatures, some little tokens, some game cards, a game board,
Mm-hmm.
everything you need to play. And I believe it's for 1 to 4 players, 1 to 5 players. So
Yeah.
ages 10 and up. Looks like a lot of fun. So I am super excited to try this one out. So props to The Apprentice for that.
Yeah.
That was a great
Shout out
idea.
Ravensburger, man. They make
Yes,
Lorcana too.
Al
That's the
Yeah,
same people that make that.
Ravensburger is they are the game, they are the shop that made that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just
So
in
we'll have a
case
link for
if
that.
people are looking for more horrified, they have obviously the D&D that just came out recently. They have horrified universal monsters, which you know I have. They have
Yep.
horrified
Okay.
Greek monsters, which are like mythological creatures, like the Minotaur and stuff.
Oh,
They
okay, cool.
also have one that I didn't know called horrified American monsters, which is all cryptids like the Mothman, Bigfoot,
Ooh,
and that one's probably
nice.
really fun.
The
Um,
Bravies, yeah, I like that.
so very
That's good
cool,
stuff.
very cool.
Yeah. The other thing I got, just wanted to show this up there because we're not there yet. But hey, finally got this book. I've been wanting it for a long time. So Dungeons and Dragons, Worlds and Realms book. It's a great book. Lots of art in here from first edition all the way up through fifth edition. Unfortunately, nothing from 2024 for you who are looking for it because this came out prior to that. But some great artwork on the back. There's a quote there by Matt Mercer for all of you critters and Matt Mercer nerds. Yeah, I mean, obviously he is the most popular dungeon master of all time, save for Gary Gygax. But that's a great looking book. I can't wait to delve into that. I got that from The Apprentice as well for Christmas, so pretty excited about that too. So I'll quit nerding out now and showing off what I got, and we will jump into some card game news. We talked about Lorcana earlier.
Yeah.
I'm not all that familiar with it. I know the name. I know what it
Hmm.
is. I know that it's the mouse.
Yeah.
But The Apprentice is definitely into it. And Steven, what would you like to share with our
Um,
viewers about Lorcana?
so we've talked about it here and there a little bit. I will say, for most people, they see that it's a Disney property and they kind of scoff at it, and I understand. The only reason I got into it is, we have a 3-year-old and we're walking around the store and she would see a card pack, not even knowing it's a card pack, and there'd be Elsa or somebody she knows on the front, and I kept seeing it out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, what is this? And lo and behold, it's a card game. Um, it is similar, kind of, to a Magic, but not really. It's a lot simpler. There's instead of just straight up combat to win by doing player damage, there's also questing where certain characters have different lore values where they can quest. They've recently, in the last couple expansions, added their equivalent of like a battleground in a Riftbound or like a land card in Magic, and they've added
Yep.
location cards. And all in all, it's just a really fun game, and it has all of the fun of collecting cards from Disney characters that you know. Um, a lot of the more rare ones are from like the older IPs. Like there's a set that has a bunch of Fantasia characters in it, like Chernabog, which is very rare, which is
Gargoyles.
which is cool. Gargoyles is in the new set, Whispers in the
That
Well,
was
which
awesome.
if anybody out there's looking for Lorcana packs of Whispers in the Well, good luck. Everywhere I go, except for Waterloo Games. Um,
What are we
either
doing?
either they're out or they have a very strict pack limit. I was just telling Dad, I walked into Waterloo and Dad was looking at something, and I was like, "Hey, do you have a pack limit on Whispers in the Well or any of the newer expansions?" And the guy's like, "No, of course not. How many do you want?" I couldn't believe it. I mean, even Target had a. I remember
Yep.
Madison and I going to Target, and I saw the new expansion there like the day before Thanksgiving. And I was like, "Oh, let me grab some while I'm here." And I go up to the self checkout and I scan 3 booster packs, and it goes, "Oop, limit of 2." And I'm like, even Target, you can't get more of these. But anyways, Lorcana's been really fun to collect. Of course, my 3-year-old takes all my Elsa cards. If I'll have to fight her for if I ever got an enchanted, I'd have to fight her for it, and she'd probably win.
Good luck. I've seen the kid fight.
Yeah, he has actually. Um, but I mean, right now, I mean, there's some pretty high value cards in that set. You got the Enchanted Hades or the Iconic Hades at $500 right now on TCG
Yeah.
Player. The iconic Ariel right now is even in draft. I hear that card's very good. It's at 4.99. Um, so the cards are maintaining their value. I'm gonna put a picture for Dad to check out in the video when I edit. The Goliath Enchanted card is like from Gargoyles is like one of the coolest card arts I've ever seen on a card. That's kind of what got me into the Lorcana stuff. The art, like Magic art, is very cool, but it's very like dark, grim, dark, depending on the set. But usually it's pretty
Right.
dark. That's why I love the Bloomborough set and soon to be the Lorwyn set, because the art kind of lightens up and it's a lot more Dagger Hardy, Red
Yeah.
Wally, and not as Diablo 4, right? Um,
Right. Right.
but anyway, Lorcana's great. It's a lot of fun collecting cards. It's expensive, just like everything. So I kind of just like we did this weekend. If I'm in a game shop, I'll buy a few packs. And I think last episode we talked a little bit about the upcoming Magic sets. There's a lot. There's two that I know of that are in universe, and the rest are universes beyond. But
Yep.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is coming out, I think, in March. Lorwyn is coming out in January. That's a set that everyone's looking forward to. The art is very cool. I will say I on TCG Player they put out the some pre-order or pre-release, I guess is the right term. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle set cards,
Yep.
and the land cards for the Magic that expansion for Magic. All of the land cards are different flavors and different toppings on pizza. So
That's
like
awesome.
the swamp,
That's
like
awesome.
the swampland is a
Yeah.
mushroom pizza, and all the mushrooms are in the shape of the skull since they're black energy. And then
That's
like
awesome.
the forest cards are like broccoli pizza. It's so cool. I love it. I knew I was
I love
gonna.
those theme things.
Me too. I knew that set was gonna get me. It already has gotten me. I can't wait for it to come out.
And
So
wait until the little girl sees it. She
oh,
loves
dude.
Teenage Mutant Ninja
So
Turtles.
yeah, Dad just said we had a birthday. So I woke up on Sunday and we had the little happy birthday sign on the door. And then I had a happy birthday with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the kitchen. I had a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cake. I told Madison I was surprised that she didn't dress her up like a little turtle, and she came running into the bedroom and beat me up because I just knew that was going to
Yeah.
happen. But I
Yeah.
was spared. I was spared. Um,
That's good.
and not to harp too much on cards, but like I said, I did touch on Altered. That is a card game I'm kind of looking at now just to try to understand. It
Yep.
does look more like a lighthearted kind of Daggerheart-y in terms of the art and not being so dark and grim. So that
Yeah.
looks pretty fun. And then I saw a bunch of Flesh and Blood there. That is a card game that I do like a lot. It is very much like old school dungeon crawler vibe to it.
Mhm. Right.
That game has a lot of hype right now. People are I've so many times on Reddit I've seen people saying that they've sold all their other card games. They've moved to Flesh and Blood and they don't regret it. Maybe I'll grab a couple boosters and kind of look at playing that and see what that's like. But anyway, lots going on in Card World. I'm sure there's going to be more. So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah. And we'll keep you guys posted as we hear more and as we learn more. I definitely want to check out the Flesh and Blood. Anything that's kind of dungeon crawler themed, I'm definitely interested in it.
Hmm.
Um, and then the Marvel cards, obviously. I mean, I don't want to give Magic anymore, WotC any more of my money, but anything Marvel heroes. If I can get me a Moon Knight, a Ghost Rider, and a Spider Man, I'm good to go.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, let's jump into some gaming news.
Hmm.
So, Path of Exiles 2
Yeah.
has a new update coming. Holy
It's
cow!
big.
Does this thing look amazing? It's called The Last of the Druids.
Hmm.
That is coming out this week on December 12th,
Yep.
and it is going to be putting more than just Magic of the Druids at your command. Players are actually going to be able to transform their druids with a wild shape into a wolf,
Mm.
a bear, or a dragon-esque kind of
Like a wyvern.
wyvern-looking creature.
Yeah.
It looks awesome. We have a link for the teaser trailer, which we will put in the description for you.
Watch the
I
gameplay,
saw
bro.
it. As soon as I saw it, I had to share it with the apprentice because I know he and I played Path of Exiles together before and had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
He saw it and he blew me up on the text messages. He's like, "Holy crap!" I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yeah,
It
that's
looks
right."
sick. I mean, so obviously I've played a lot of Diablo and the Druids in that game, and I have a lot of fun with that. But Path of Exile has
Mhm.
always been Diablo's always been seen as a more casual game, and Path of Exile is the more hardcore game. And I would argue that's pretty true. We played Path of Exile 1, and I remember more than one time, you, me, or someone we were playing with, just not really paying attention to our gear, taking a piece of gear off, putting a different piece of gear on, and bricking our character because we no
Yeah,
longer met stat thresholds, or
yeah,
we didn't have the right gem sockets anymore. From what I understand, Path of Exile 2 has really loosened that up, and as far as I know, you put your gems on the actual slot, like your arms or your chest, and not a piece of gear specifically
Yeah.
anymore, which is way
Right.
better. Um,
Yeah.
but I hear it is like the combat and like the actual like playing through the game is much harder. Um, it looks a lot more like you have to actually time your dodges to not get hit by attacks. You can't just ignore attacks anymore. You actually have to like
Right.
dodge and parry and whatever to get
And
past
that's more
stuff.
realistic. That's more realistic for
It
combat.
definitely looks good. Grinding Gear Games has been, Path of Exile has been their baby forever. They're owned by Tencent now, which many people here might not know what Tencent is. They're the people that own Riot, so we talk
Yeah.
about Valorant, League of Legends, all like that entire juggernaut. Tencent, if you start looking up what they own
They own
everything.
a lot.
Um,
They own a lot. And there was
so
talk for a long time that they might buy Dungeons and Dragons. That kind of went away.
yeah,
There was talk for a while that they might go in and snatch up Paizo. That went away. So
they
Tencent
own
is
everything.
definitely they're a big player. They're not very vocal about it.
Yeah,
So
no, they're under the radar, but Grinding Gear has all that money behind them now, and Path of Exile 2 is really kind of a display of what they're willing to do, and they're not scared to go right at Diablo's throat or Last Epoch's throat or any of those games. They've called them out by name at their own convention before. Because they
right.
just believe their product is better. That's up to you. I know a lot of people that feel that way. I like every action RPG. I want to play them all. I'm not one of the people
Yeah.
that dies on a hill of, oh, this game's better than that game. I want to play them all. Because I
Yeah.
remember loving action RPGs and there not being one. Back in the
Yeah.
day, Diablo 3 was basically done, and if Path of Exile had a bad season or a bad league, as they call them, there was nothing to play. So I
Yeah.
love having more than one. I play them all. This Druid, though, it just seems like it's way more thought out. I loved. They had like a 3 hour live stream about it. Grinding Gear did, and they were showing how if you play as like the human druid, and then you kind of synergize that. Like if you have like a
Mm-hmm.
stave as the druid, and then you're using spells, and then using your beast. I think it's like a beast totem or like a beast sigil that you can
Right.
kind of designate which beast you want to transform to and when. They were showing the guy casting rain spells and then shifting into the wyvern and using electrical spells to like burst the area down. So
Wow.
there's actual element interactions in the game. Like the
That's
wyvern
cool.
can spit oil, and then if you transform into the bear, you can shoot fire out of your claws and synergize with the wyvern oil. Or like,
That's awesome.
yeah, I mean, it's on like I mean, in Path of Exile 2 has had that since the beginning with like different weather patterns would give you different
Mm-hmm.
buffs, but this
Right.
druid class, it seems like you can now have that synergy kind of at your disposal whenever you need it, not just relying on a certain map or time of day. You can actually
Mm-hmm.
just instantly like, hey, I want it to rain, and I'm going to shift into a wolf, and they're going to be
Right.
instantly, instead of being slowed by my frost magic, since they're already wet from my rain spell, they're going to get instantly frozen, and kind of gives
Right.
the player agency to play around themselves and not having to rely on anything outside of their kit, which is very cool. Um,
That is cool.
Also, the game just looks incredible. I mean, the graphic engine that they've put together is just awesome. I don't know if it's Unreal 5 or not. It doesn't look like it, but they're doing very well. I don't really have any Last Epoch news. I know Diablo 4. The big rumor right now is at the Games Expo. Um, they haven't announced a lot, and I think it's because they're going to announce the next expansion at the Games Expo. And I was watching the Riker video this morning about the next season and kind of his opinion, and I think I'm right there with him. They're leaving a lot to the imagination with the next season, which is supposed to drop soon. I think what's going to happen is at the expo they're going to say, "Here's the next expansion. It's this, and we're going to include this new class in the expansion. But if you pre-order, you can have the class right now, and you can play the season, which starts tomorrow." They're just going to hit like they're just going to fire all cylinders. Here you go. Um, I know some of the data mining has shown cosmetics for the paladin, which is the flail. If you play Diablo, any of them, the paladins always use the flail. Um, there's a cosmetic for the flail that's like literally in the data files right now. China's already data mined it, and there's pictures of it. Some people say, "Oh, it's a horse trophy. It's not real." No, it absolutely is. I
Awesome.
think they're just taking their time because when the Spiritborn came out in season 6, it was the strongest class. Like, it wasn't even close. If you were trying to be on a leaderboard online, you were playing Spiritborn. In my opinion, that's really bad in an RPG to force people to play one class to
Right.
compete. So I think they're taking their time with the paladin. They're trying to make sure it's balanced, try to make sure it fits into the meta right now. It's not a clear
Mhm.
weak class or a clear strong class. I think they're just going to hit it. I mean, Path of Exile's been pretty much winning recently. This last of the Druids update looks incredible. Not
That
only
looks
that, the
amazing. Yeah.
season that's coming with it is awesome. I don't know how many people know about the season that's with it because the Druid is getting all the attention. But the new season is the something about the shadows of the Vol. I think the Vol are kind of in the Path of Exile universe are kind of like the Dwemer in the Elder Scrolls universe. They're this ancient, very high tech race that you don't really see very much. Um,
Right.
you go through their ruins a lot and kind of see some of their constructs. Well, this new league, this new season that's coming out with the Druid, is you get to go to these forgotten ruins of the Vol race, and then you get to this room, and there's like this table or like this portal you can go into, and when you go into it, you get to construct your own dungeon from the top down, like square by square, and say,
Hmm.
okay, I want to start here. I go to this next room, and you can buff, like make the rooms harder for better loot. So you're building
Wow.
your own procedural dungeon, room by room, to then go into and play and like try to play harder and harder dungeons to get better and better loot. So
Right.
it's got its own like little side dungeon crawler mini game inside of the season with the druid. I mean, it's incredible. Um,
Sounds awesome.
it's going to be great.
Yeah,
I
I'm looking
mean,
forward to it.
it's going to be good. I mean, I don't know. I could tell you right now in real time like how much Path of Exile 2 is. I think it was $20 when I picked it up.
Right.
Because it is still in, I guess, quote, early alpha or whatever they want to call it.
Hmm.
Let's see how much it's still $20.
Yeah.
It's early
Yeah.
access. It's totally worth it. I mean, this game has been absolutely just crushing it. I don't think there's been a bad update. I haven't heard of a bad league. Maybe I missed it. So anyway, check it out. It looks really good. Watch the video. If you're not sold on what we're saying, watch the gameplay video. If you're into RPGs and you see that video and you're like, that's not for me, I don't know how that's possible, but
Yeah. Give us your feedback. Let us know what you think about the game. Have you seen it? Are you interested in it? Did we push you over the edge so you're going to look into it? Let us know.
looks good.
Um, so we're going to go into closing now. What's coming soon here at the Bays? While we were together visiting, the apprentice and I talked about trying to get together and have some more presence at conventions, local conventions, smaller conventions. I mean, we went to Dragon Con this year. That's crazy because it's just one of the busiest conventions in America. So we're looking at in March going to GalaxyCon in Richmond. That looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Steven and I went to GalaxyCon years and years ago. We had a lot of fun at that one. We got to see Larry Elmore at one of his last convention turnouts. Got to see a couple of stars. We got to see the General Lee car that was on site. We got to see the Batmobile, which was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I've got some pictures which I will send to the apprentice so he can throw those up here. One of them is the apprentice with Krampus,
Mm-hmm.
and one of them is the apprentice with the Joker. So I'll get those up so he can throw those in here as we talk about GalaxyCon. So we're looking at doing that in March. So if you're in the area or if you attend GalaxyCon Richmond, we would love to see you guys. Stop, talk to you, chat, maybe play a game or two together. Card game, TTRPG, what have you. So we are planning to be in attendance in March, at least 2 days. So we will let you know as we get closer what we're looking at, what our schedule might be. But other than that, we've got some fun questions that we like to do here at the end that we always ask each other. So I'm going to lead this time. I'm going to ask Steven if he could play D&D with anybody, living, dead, imaginary, what have you. If you could play D&D with any one person, being, or what have you, who would that be and why?
Um, if I could play with them as a fellow player, or they would be the DM.
Either way, whichever one. You just get to sit at the table with them. Role doesn't matter.
Okay. So I would want to play with our normal group of people that you and I have spoken about before.
Mm-hmm.
But in my made-up fantasy, I'd want
Mm-hmm.
to play it in the house from Haunted Hill, that haunted
Ooh,
house, and I would want the DM
yeah,
to be a very well versed in D&D Vincent Price, and I want him to be the dungeon master.
nice.
Yeah,
Could
I
it
want him to. I
working?
want him to know a lot about D&D and also be the dungeon
Yeah,
master and talk like
I
Vincent
like it.
Price and like because he just seems like I was gonna say like maybe like a Harry Houdini or something because like very mysterious and but I
Yeah,
think Vincent Price like if he was well versed in it would just be
I like it.
the aesthetics would be out of control.
I like it. I like it. You work in a little bit of old horror with it at the
Oh,
same
dude,
time. That's
yeah,
pretty good stuff.
yeah.
Nice. If I could play with anybody, now I know that the obvious to go to is, oh, I want to play with Gary Gygax. Yeah, I would definitely love to play
Mm-hmm.
a table with Gary Gygax, and maybe in the next life he can DM for me. Um, but honestly, if I could play with one person, um, and I've mentioned her before, but I'm gonna say Deborah Ann Wool.
That's a good choice.
She has a lot of passion for Dungeons and Dragons. She has a lot of knowledge for Dungeons and Dragons, and if anybody's been watching her recent live play with the Dungeon Dudes, um, she has just this just just intoxicating energy about her. Just she's everything at the table is fun. She's very animated, and to me as a player gets me involved. It keeps me engaged because she does all these neat little things. She plays up with props. She loves to do things on site. So with this new live play she's got there, they're at like some kind of historic village, and she's using that as the setting for her D&D game. And to me, that's what I want as a player. Is I want a dungeon master who's involved, engaging, and
Mm-hmm.
keeps me motivated to play. And that's the kind of DM I aspire to be. I think that that's the kind of DM that she is in real life, and I would love to play with her. As far as places go, I thought there's so many different places I could choose, but honestly, the one place I'd like to play and maybe have her run a Curse of Strahd game, I would love to go to Romania and play in Dracula's castle.
That'd be insane.
I think that would be awesome. Nothing but candlelight and torchlight and maybe fires in a fireplace and just creepy, dark, eerie, historically violent
Mm-hmm.
setting. I think would be great to play like the Curse of Strahd or something like,
Yeah.
or any other sort of like a horror, you know, based themed game. I think would be fun.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be what I would want to do. That would be the person and the location. So
Yeah.
what are your thoughts? Who would you guys like to play with if you could play with anybody, living, dead, imaginary, or not? Who would you want to play with and why? And where would you like to play? If you could play anywhere in the world or even an imaginary world,
Mm-hmm.
nothing's off the table. Where would you guys like to play and who would you like to play with? Let us know. Hit us up in the comments. Like this video if you liked what we were doing here. Comment, let us know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, where we're off topic, where we're right on target, and let us know your thoughts. Share it with your friends. Smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you haven't already done so. We really appreciate all your support. You guys are why we're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
We're not just doing this to hear ourselves talk. We like to support this community that we love. We love to play video games. We are both big nerds,
Yep.
fantasy, sci-fi, horror nerds, and we like to share that love with everybody out here in the internet. So
Mm-hmm.
that's all I have for this evening. Steven, did you have any thoughts on the way out?
I think I'm good. We have some stuff in some irons in the fire right now. Some
Yeah.
projects, some little things we're looking at doing. Dad and I have talked about some he doesn't even know about. So keep your eyes on the skies for that stuff.
Yeah.
Keep Dad's Instagram or the website is a good place to kind of be current. Um, what we're thinking about. So I think that's everything I have. So until next time, everybody, we will catch you later. Dad, sing us home.
Guys, you have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful week. If we don't see you again before the holidays, have a wonderful holiday, however you choose to celebrate it. Be
Mm-hmm.
safe. Keep your sword arm free. Keep your powder dry. And we'll see you back here next time in the maze.
See ya.
Good night, everybody.